Welcome to AllegedTEA, spilling all things Bravo, Housewives, one drip at a time. And introducing your hosts, Gregory Litley, Jan Marie Lozada, and Emily Gellis. Our very first episode of AllegedTEA finds us talking about 4 episodes into the second season of The Real Housewives of New York. Where are the relationships leading these women? Specifically, Brynn versus Sai versus Uba versus everybody. And we break down who our high tea, our most favorite so far in the season is, as well as our drip drop, one cast member that we feel could really do with some improving. Specifically, what exactly is financial infidelity? Right, Aaron? And now let's spill some tea.
I think that we have so many opinions. I do want to kind of go down and kick it off to you two. What do you think the biggest issue, the biggest problem has been so far?
I think Brynn is kind of the issue, but I don't know. Brynn is it not
enemy number one, public enemy number one. That is who she is.
Agree.
And I'm so surprised. So I agree with both of you. I think Brynn is like struggling. I don't get it. I don't understand what's happening.
She was really fun season 1. Her and Sai have kind of flipped because Sai was flat for me season 1, and I was kind of like, do you want to be here? And she was hard to watch, and now Brynn is hard to watch. I would say with my psychology PhD that I don't have, Brynn is maybe having some feelings that she's not talking about on camera, because clearly she's like bothered by things, but it doesn't seem like those conversations are happening. You're just seeing like her be mad or stir the pot, and then they react, and then she's like the victim, and it's just like these weird like outbursts.
I don't know. Sai season 1, I was disappointed in because like I follow her on social media, and I was just like, oh, I love this. I love her social media. And then when she got on and she was like, I bring my own toilet paper to people's houses, I was like, girl, you have not been rich that long. Get out of here.
But I respected that. I like how she was upfront about who she is. Like, I felt that was a great way to get to know her super fast. Like, you know who she is just from that comment.
She just didn't like who she is. She got it. She was like,
no, I like Sai. I was a fan of hers. I followed her online. Here's my thing. It's like, you haven't had money that long to be like, I'm bringing my own toilet paper to people's houses. What are you talking about? That is ridiculous. And then
I took it as a preference.
I used to go, and then the next sentence she was like, well, I used to get my Christmas ornaments from the Dollar Tree. It's like, you know something, you know where toilet paper goes? In the toilet. Why do you care that much?
Definitely not. I've never thought about bringing toilet paper to someone's house, personally.
I think it's smart.
But
you need a high ply. Like, listen, I think it's smart. But what?
I mean, listen, I have a high ply. It has a high ply.
But what I liked was that juxtaposition, because I feel like everything you had to know about her very quickly to make that connection. Because again, this was season 1. This was the reboot. We were getting to know all these women for the first time, mostly, except for Jenna Lyons. She pretty much had the highest reputation outside of the show. But I feel like you talk about, you know that she's self-made. You know that she has standards, and you also know that she came from like extremely humble beginnings. So I don't know. I kind of, the thing with Sai in the first season to juxtapose to what's happening now for me was her ability to, her inability to process any kind of conflict. And it just seemed that so many of the women were trying to make, we can talk about authenticity later, but authentic connections, especially to her. And she was very much like standoffish and unable to process any type of conflict that arises in the group. And it just made for just uncomfortable settings to the point where, like, we all know what happened between her and Brynn and Uba at the end of season 1. So I don't know. I feel like right out of the gate, Sai was like my favorite of these past 4 episodes. And she was so upfront, and she was so like giving in terms of sharing that she is in therapy and that she is excited to grow and to move forward. And, you know, you could tell that, I think I know that we've all had these conversations about like how aware the women are on the show. Like this is the most aware cast in Bravo's history. And by aware, I mean they know that the cameras are on. They know that they're there for specific reasons. They have goals. They have aspirations past the show. So you could tell they're very much, I don't want to say gunning for camera time, but definitely trying to like fulfill a storyline or to hit certain marks.
Right.
And
But
I
then
think
I'm
that
like, how authentic are you? If you're that aware, how authentic are we getting?
But I think that's
I
the
get
best we're gonna get.
right. And I get your point too, because I'm like, okay, listen, I get it. When you come from humble beginnings, you don't want to go back. So I get if like someone has a 2-ply toilet paper and you want a high-ply toilet paper. I just thought it was so ridiculous.
Right.
And it's
but
like,
also
but I
one ply toilet paper for her could be triggering. It could, make her think of the
fair.
times when she didn't have, so who knows?
Who knows? But I will say I like the growth from last season
Yeah.
to this season of Psy. I
Yeah.
like the growth. And I like, yeah, I would say my only triggering thing about Psy last season was it just felt like very contrived, where I'm like now
Oh,
I feel like
wow.
I'm getting a more authentic person when I'm watching
Yeah.
her.
Her walls are dropping. And I think the biggest example of what you just said is her budding relationship with Jenna. Like how that is so easy. And in fact, the latest episode, the fourth episode, they would the production would go back to filmed scenes of Jenna and Sai just like catching up, getting coffee, getting lunch over moments that seemingly looked like they weren't like a forced filming time, like a forced structure. Like this was two women that were genuinely friends catching up, talking about Sai's plan for her mother's ashes, and Jenna shared a little bit about her family. Like that seemed so authentic, and it was the most unexpected like best friendship I've seen yet come out of that show.
I agree.
Oof.
I agree. And I think season one was Erin. I think Erin was a jealous baby and I think there was a lot of miscommunication between Sai and Jenna in season one. And now you're seeing with Erin out of the picture in that relationship, how the two of them are now coming together.
Yeah. I would say that there's less of Erin overall in the first 4 episodes. And I know that she was recently on Watch What Happens Live and she lost a parent. I understand that there's like things happening in her personal life that is keeping her
mom died
away.
No,
I think it was her father. I think her father passed away right before the end of filming.
Oh, that's
no, it was like last week.
I didn't know that.
No, her dad died like last week, like right after her appearance on Watch What Happens Live.
Oh gosh,
that's terrible.
That's so
well,
sad.
Now I feel bad talking shit about her, but like.
Well, no, but you bring up a good point because it's almost as if I've felt a little bit of an absence of Erin in the first 4 episodes. Now understanding that obviously like she's having financial, I don't know what we're calling it, with her husband.
Allegedly,
and her mother is
financial affair her husband was having.
Right, AllegedTEA, a financial affair. A lot of things are making sense now. Why I feel as though we're seeing kind of
I have tea on Erin. I don't know that Erin wants to be on RHONY.
You have AllegedTEA.
Maybe her husband wants her to be on RHONY because I had business dealings with Erin when I owned my handbag company, which she references in that episode about the financial issues, how her husband made her have that business, which was Erin Dana Handbags. So I had a handbag company and Erin reached out to me and said, years ago, like, could you help? I'm like a young like entrepreneur looking for advice. And then they kind of like copied one of my handbags and like stole the name. So I was like, you suck. And but fast forward, then she worked with a friend of mine trying to like promote the bag line, and it was never really going anywhere. It didn't seem like they were passionate about it. And according to her, it wasn't her idea. In that episode, she said that it was her husband's idea. And then I also know, which I can't disclose, but I know how they got on the show. And I feel like maybe it's really strictly for like business purposes to like, which is fine. A lot of people go on these shows to like grow a business, but
everyone on the cast is there for a business reason at this point. Like,
Truly.
Not,
but I don't know that it's,
that
I don't know that she wants it maybe as much as he wants it.
Oh,
because if you heard him say in that episode, he always felt like he needed to compete to like provide more. Like she was like, jet setting around with this crowd, and like obviously going on one of these shows, you can bump income and you can start businesses, they grow a lot faster. So maybe like there's other motives. I feel like a lot of people in their first seasons are like, okay, we can go on, we can show everything is perfect, we keep it all in a bow. By your second or third season, like if you want to stay on the show, you got to like tell what's really happening. When your husband takes your Bitcoin without telling you and does something like that, that's messed up.
They keep showing the flashback of her. I'm sorry. I know it's a serious matter, and I know that like that's awful. Thank God my husband's never stolen from me before. But I'm sorry. I can't help but laugh. Not laugh, but just like maybe fight back a laugh every time she says Bitcoin. I just like, I never before thought I would be seeing a Bravo Housewives franchise discuss Bitcoin so much. I mean, it's every episode they flash back to that confessional where she's like, Bitcoin. And then he sold the Bitcoin.
It's a lot of money.
And then
it was like, a lot of money.
I mean, apparently, I believe her. The thing that's interesting about what you said, Emily, I had such a different interpretation of that conversation. I know what you're talking about. I think it was at like Serendipity, or maybe they were at some kind of restaurant, and he was talking about like her. Right. I think it may have just been a solo date with just that couple. I took it as him being like, you are so hot that I have to do like, that I felt like I had to do everything to like impress you and to win you over. And honestly, I felt like she was sitting across the table being like, no, just be yourself. Like I could have done anything with anyone, and I chose to do that with you. So I had a very different take.
I think there's a lot of financial pressure,
stress,
and like that the Jewish community, like that part of the Jewish community, because I called Michael in to rewatch that scene because Michael actually went to school with Erin. They know each other. And I was like, look, Mike, like, this is like, I said, would you ever have this conversation on national television? And he was like, no. But I was like, but do you like feel what he's saying? And I think he was kind of like, there's a pressure to keep up with the Joneses, but they got married very young, according to them. Like, I guess they were like in their young, like 20s. So, I mean, like, how much money can you, like, financial stability do you have when you're 24? I mean, I didn't have any. So, like, So I think, I just wonder, like, I think there's more like behind there, but there is with a lot of them. I think like Jenna also didn't want to have her relationship on the show, which is something that like I don't personally agree with. Like, I don't think that that's really fair. But
and
I guess
don't know,
she has enough star power.
Right. I don't know if any of you are aware, but Jenna is engaged or married, or I think just engaged. To like one of the like the hottest fashion and beauty photographers on the planet, right? So it's like, it's how she's like casually like, Cass, Cass. I'm like,
I think if anybody could like pull the like privacy card, it's Jenna. Like, I think she's like, I don't want my fiance doesn't want to be on camera. I think if any of them can pull that, it's going to be her. But I mean, like, it's clear that there's like more behind story. There's more behind the story of Erin and Abe, for sure. And I think this whole like alleged financial situation affair,
it's so uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable because it's uncomfortable.
It really
and listen, it's not to say that couples don't go through like financial shit. But like to talk about it on camera, number one. But I don't know.
But to call it, but what they call it is like really chilling, like financial infidelity.
Like I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that that's
I did not either. I did not either.
I've never heard of that.
I mean, there's a thing, there's financial abuse. And, you know, in some cases, people could say like what he did is a form of financial abuse in like selling the Bitcoin and
AllegedTEA.
AllegedTEA. But I feel like, I don't know, I'm getting like skis. I'm getting the ick from him. I'm getting the ick. Something else is going on. You know
my favorite?
I feel
something else is going on.
I mean,
Pavid is my favorite character on Ronnie.
Jessa and yes, both of them are like.
I love Pavid. When he was, he's like all the Hallmark holidays. He's like, don't get me started on Valentine's Day, and he like is I loved him this authentic. He's authentic.
But I loved him using the meta glasses. And how he keeps asking questions. Oh my God,
those are the meta glasses. Yes. And he was like, what's my IQ?
And they're like, we can't know.
Is Pavid is a clown? Does he have a TikTok? Because I need to follow him.
He does.
She was like,
he does.
She was like, you better get me Chanel for my birthday. And you better get me Chanel for my birthday. And then she's like,
not from Canal Street. Not from Canal Street. I can't
promise anything. And then she's like, I got a text from him yesterday saying, what do you want for your birthday? She's like, ugh. And he's like, and then at the party, at her birthday party, the guy's like, so how do you know Jessel? And she's like, oh, me? I'm her husband.
And he's like, oh, you're married to her? That also brings us to.
I feel like Pavid does that.
Jess's birthday party. That brings us to Jessel's 41st birthday. And the entire theme was all based on Clueless, which was shocking to me that there were some cast members that had not actually seen the iconic 90s film Clueless. Like Jenna Lyons had not seen it. She had to watch it. Well, I mean, but I can almost accept a straight man.
I can see Pavid not watching it because I don't think Dave's, my husband's, watched it. I could see that. But
Clueless is like my favorite movie.
Jenna Lyons not watching it is absurd. That is absurd.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
That was the most shocking thing that happened on that episode.
So you had
get it together, Jenna.
Who was Bryn dressed as? Because she did a really good job. Dion.
That was Dion.
Yeah. That was amazing.
She nailed it.
And then Jessel had 3 different looks. She got changed
Jessel
3 different times throughout the night.
She didn't do a full Cher look, though. She didn't even do a Cher look.
I feel like the last one was the recreation of Aliyah. Wasn't that like the last dress, the red one?
Yeah. But Cher has like so many iconic looks that you know, like those are Cher. Yeah. But it's okay. I don't care. She had a great idea and it was fun.
It was, and Erin nailed it too. And
she was.
Sai
I think she
great
was
in the crushed velvet.
Was Erin dressed?
Sai was Dion, and Sai nailed it. Yeah. That look she nailed. She
even Uba with the weed.
Oh no, Erin was Cher. That's a Cher. I remember now.
That was a Cher look. That was when Cher went for her driver's test.
Yeah.
One kind of like overarching theme that's been happening throughout each of these episodes that I do want to talk, because I know that both of you have strong opinions about this, is the entire lack or maybe friendship breakdown between Uba and Bryn. That's been a reoccurring theme. Well, actually, Bryn's breakdown with everyone has been a reoccurring theme on each of these episodes. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to kind of kick it off and just kind of open it up and talk about what do we think is really happening there between Bryn and Uba specifically, but Bryn and the group kind of overarching.
Is Bryn the only single one on the cast?
Oh, sorry. What did you say?
Wait, what? Wait.
Is Bryn the only single one on the cast? She is, right? The only single one?
I think so at this point. I
Oh
don't know.
yeah,
I
because
think
Uba
she's.
does have
I
a
think she's still
boyfriend.
hooking up with Gideon. Allegedly. I think she's still hooking up with Gideon.
I think she's clearly unhappy though about something. She's not happy,
Which is a
Yeah.
very
like
New
within
York thing
herself.
to do, is hook up with your ex. So that's a very New York thing to do. But I
Yeah,
think
but
she
like
I
she's
think
so
she's becoming
pretty and
Teresa
she's
Giudice.
so
I think she's becoming
why?
Teresa Giudice. I think she
I
knows
did
that she'll
not
get the
see
most
that
camera
coming.
time if she fights with everybody.
Oh, that's so lame. I'm not here for that.
Bryn is be having like emotional breakdowns off camera. I think she's having like some sort of identity crisis. I think
Mhm.
she like code switches so much that she doesn't even know who she's got to be with certain people.
Yeah,
And
it's wait,
I
is it
think,
weird? Wait, yeah, Greg, is it weird when she always is like, I want to be a lesbian. I kind of want to be a lesbian. Like, I know that. Is it
As the
like is
resident
she
gay?
serious?
No,
Yeah,
you know what
I
I
don't
think?
know.
So
I don't
this
know
is
how
my
to. I don't know
take.
if how to take it.
This is my take on Bryn. So last year, season one wrapped on the reboot, and I got to tell you, she was my favorite. I thought she was phenomenal. She was so interesting. She was fun. She was playful. She was such a breath of fresh air for not only like Bravo, but the entire franchise. And then we had this season start. And I have to say, overall, and I know we touched upon this a little bit previously, but I feel as though she is trying to drive like certain storylines and character arcs, and she's trying to, they've even caught her a few times on camera where, and the producers keep it in and they'll do a little they'll put the text on the screen so that you can read what she's saying. She'll be like, oh, wait, no, try to say that differently when they catch it on this angle. Like, it's almost like I don't want to say co-directing, but it's very, I don't want to say manipulated, but it's
no,
like
but it
all very
is.
planned. And I
I
feel
don't
as though
like
she's
when
so
any
frustrated.
start producing. It's not good. Like
But it's also
be in the
strange.
moment.
Like, you don't have
Yeah,
to
but be in the
produce with this
moment.
group. Right, but
No, that's what
but
I'm saying.
it
She
that's
she
like
has something
upsetting to her.
she clearly wants something to come across and it's not like
Right.
hitting and she's like
Right.
frustrated, but obviously like I don't think like we can really speak on this, but the comments with like Uba and like don't come off as an
Well,
angry
that I
black
so
woman.
here's my hunch with that. My hunch is that that conversation was meant to be between Bryn, Aaron, and Uba. And if you noticed, it was all off camera. And it wasn't until
Mhm.
Uba, who I really believe is like very much like who she is who she presents herself on camera. She's very authentic. And there's almost no pause between her bringing up things that Bryn has said off camera on camera, because she's not necessarily trying to like create a storyline or like a fictitious front. And I think that
Mm.
like totally sparked, like just set Brent off, because that whole like, oh, don't come off this way or don't come off as like an angry black woman or whatever the exact wording that Brent used. I don't believe that conversation was ever intended to be spoken about on camera. And I think that that like completely just threw Bryn. Like, she was just like,
But
whoa, I have no control. I have no handle what's happening, because she's like not really, she's so checked out now. She's like, whatever. Okay, whatever.
I think that like, well, in the last reunion, it was mentioned because Uba and Erin had that whole blow up. And it
Yeah.
had been mentioned a lot about Uba coming off as an angry black woman. And
Which, yeah.
Bryn saying that to Uba is, it's very much gaslighting. It's also very much a like, Bryn, I think, has had, and speaking as someone who's like half white and half Latin, like when you're like of mixed race, there's a lot of like identity crisis that you have. And I think Bryn is has had several identity crises in identifying as either a white woman or a black woman. And then I
Yeah.
also think she code switches a lot. And I think what I mean by that is I think when she is with like her white people, her white friends, she is very much like, plays that
She'll
card.
assimilate to whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
she will assimilate to make them feel comfortable. And then when she's with Uba, I think Uba will be like, "You're a black woman," and I think that
Right.
her fear is being associated in some capacity with this whole like angry black woman trope that they're trying to push
Wow.
on Uba. And I think that in itself, what she's saying is manipulative and gaslighting, because it's very
Mm.
clear she hasn't really identified herself as a black woman.
Yeah,
That's
she
my
Interesting.
kind of
TED
like
talk.
she dabbled.
Yeah.
Well, she like dabbled in it when she talked about her hair and right like in the first
Right.
like
She's
season
she's
of
offered
getting her hair
insight.
done.
She's offered different insights into like how she was raised and the type of influences she had around her. What I
Mhm.
think is so interesting is that like Uba is just Uba. And I think that
Right.
it's like
Yeah, I love Uba. She's
Bryn,
fun.
yeah,
She's
and
the
I
best.
think you're seeing in real time Bryn having um a difficult time just handling someone who's so themselves, like off camera, on camera, like there's no real separation. And I think
Well,
that
Upa knows who she
Bryn,
is. Like Upa knows who she
right.
is. I think,
And I also
and I
think
think
I
that's
think
very
Uba
intimidating to people.
I think Uba enjoys who she is, and I think that that kind of holds up a
Mhm.
mirror to Bryn, who may not necessarily feel the most confident with where she is in life right now. So
Right.
What about
Well,
Rebecca Minkoff? What I've learned not much about
I
her
don't
in
want to.
4 episodes.
I am terrified to speak about her.
Why?
Terrified.
You think Scientologists are gonna come for you?
I
But by the
so
way, she's a
gosh.
Scientologist Jew. As a Jew, resident Jew, I've
Right.
never met a Scientologist Jew in my life.
Is that possible? I feel like what is that?
No,
What is
no,
that?
no, it's crazy. No, it's not.
well,
It's
because you
really
have to
not.
be like all in on
Because
Scientology. You got to be
Yeah,
all in on
because
it's not.
one,
Scientology.
Yes, that's why. It's the
right.
Scientology part. Like Judaism, we have like mixes and interfaith and everything, but Scientology is like you're either in or you're out. So I don't know how they let her be like a Jew too. I'm just
I don't
confused.
know. It's so scary, and the way she addresses it. Not only, I mean, I'm actually scared, but the way she addresses it in the press, and the way that she, because it's a question, and you'll also see we've seen it different times. The women on the in a very genuine way, like not as if they're trying to call her out or make fun of her. They will genuinely ask her from a place of sincerity. Um, how would you like us to address the question
Yeah.
of you being a Scientologist? And she's like, don't. Wait, what?
Yeah, that was weird. That was
Like,
weird.
wait, what?
Also
What
though,
do you mean don't?
if you watch Housewives of Salt Lake City or you've watched the Secret Wives of Mormon lives, there is like a lot of like questions around like religions, churches. Like people are very
Right.
fascinated by these different sects of things, and
Yes.
they want to know. Like people want to know.
Yeah.
So like
Mhm.
what's like Tom Cruise, like famous Scientologist. What do we know? Like nothing. I don't. You don't. So
Right.
it's so secretive and like it's just odd to kind of like go on a public like Tom Cruise
That
is an actor.
yeah, no.
You're
Right,
going
but
on
what
a
you're gonna
reality show.
say, it's so odd
It's,
to me. Like when that casting came out, I was like, oh, this is clearly false. Like this, how
oh,
could
you
this
didn't believe
person
it?
who oh no, there was
It's
not an ounce
weird.
of me that
I
believed it. Just also
I
knowing what I know about how she because I mean she's had her line forever, and it's been in and out
Has
of
any
Fashion Week, and it's done
Scientologist
different
ever
things.
been on a reality show?
I mean, not to my
Leah Remini.
knowledge. No,
Right,
that
Leah
was
Remini.
not.
but that's after she
Yeah,
left the church,
Well,
yeah.
that
and now they
right.
want to
I
kill
just
Okay.
her.
I don't know how you put yourself in that situation and then are able and then like kind of ask your fellow castmates to just not talk about it when I mean some people like I look at Sai and she's putting the like how she's dealing with the death of her mother, or the passing of her mother. She's putting her children on TV. Like, some of these women are putting so much of their life on TV that, like, if I was in that Sprinter van with Becky Minkoff and she told me not to bring up a core trait that is very well known and widely publicized about her in the press for years. We're talking about, I mean, over 10, 15 years, it's been known that she, like, the start of her brand was Jenna Elfman, another Scientologist, wearing a Rebecca Minkoff shirt on the Jay Leno Tonight Show. Like, so much of her success and rise has been so closely tied to Scientology, or the Church of Scientology, however you phrase it. How can you not bring that up? The fact that that's such a central part of who she is.
Only with the successful housewives, this is what I'm saying. You go all in and it's the good with the bad, and like, it's not easy, but you give it all because that's the only way you're authentic. Or when you try and you can't bury certain parts of that make you who you are. So like, Scientology, I imagine, is a core piece of her life. So, you know,
and
like,
was such a fundamental part of the beginning of her career as well. Like, and it's just so strange. I just loved it. And Saya's just looking blankly at her like, oh, okay. Like,
no, they also on the helicopter.
But also, like, if she doesn't talk about it, what else makes her interesting? She hasn't done one thing that's been interesting.
That's what I'm saying. She's so boring. She's boring.
Well, I mean, she has, I mean, her and her husband have, so it's Ben Minkoff and then her. They do have,
isn't that
like,
her brother?
an accessories.
Is that her brother?
Oh, I don't know. I know there's a Ben Minkoff.
I think it's her brother.
Well,
but she is married.
I mean, she's had moments of, like, success within the fashion industry, and, you know, she's very well known for her line of bags and accessories. So, like, she definitely
has bags. I know,
right? Of course,
yeah.
But like, I think, what are you giving us to make us interested in who you are?
Right.
You basically told us that you, like, you know, you breastfeed your kids till they're, you know, in college,
and
7.
And she kept the bed. She kept the bed that she lost her virginity on.
That was so weird, guys. She's weird.
I was so uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable.
And then it was like, don't do drugs or like have sex at 16. It's like, girl, do you know how to lie to your mom and dad? Do both.
Wait, what happened when she came? What was the thing when she came down in the pink outfit and Brynn was like something about re-wearing the outfit? What was that?
I don't know.
Was that talking about it?
Erin's house?
So interesting that I didn't pay attention.
In her house, she's wearing a pink sweatsuit, and she's like, "Oh, I didn't know everyone was dressing up for breakfast." And Brynn was like, "Don't let them play you like that. Like, get you to rewear your same outfits. Like, saying like." Dress up, I don't know, like put on whatever, but hasn't dressed by the way, she dressed terribly to the share part, to the
can I ask, party. Who was she supposed to be? Who was she supposed to be at Jessel's Clueless party?
No, nobody. No one in Clueless wore that. Nobody.
I was like,
and then she and then she goes, I was worried about this headband making my nose look big. Like, she has said the weirdest lines. She said that in that episode.
Well, so is she officially part of the cast? I don't think she's officially part of the cast, right? Like, she's like a friend of.
She did.
I don't think she's.
Who was she friend of?
She did press on. Yeah.
Isn't she like a friend of? Oh God, who is she a friend of?
Not Jenna Lyons.
No. Jenna Lyons is legit and amazing. And
here's also my question. But this is the thing that, like, now I wonder about when it comes to like people that we give platforms to, and like we're like, oh, this person's so talented and a fashion designer and all these other things. It's like, she's from Florida, right? And I have a point here. But
no. Okay, so
where is she from originally? Because I'm like,
so
I know it's not New York.
Her family moved to Florida, but there is like a section of Florida, and AllegedTEA. I don't know if she grew up in this area, but there's a section of Florida that is like a hotbed for Scientology. And
well, yes, because that's
I
where
don't know
the
if
cruise is
that's
out of.
Could we go
right. So I was
visit?
like, ooh,
Should we go there?
no, I'm
Oh,
afraid.
okay.
I'm afraid of all of it.
I
Okay,
know.
so as we were saying before, we are now 4 episodes in to the second season of Bravo's reboot of the Real Housewives of New York. Whew, that's a mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
And
Can I shout? I
when
miss my
we
OG Roni. I've watched OG Roni 3 times. Once when it aired, and 2 times after. Because there was a point
so the
last year where I was
full so Emily, you miss the original cast and the original
I do.
setup and the original dynamic. So I guess I have a few guesses as to why you liked that first
Yeah.
iteration.
Why?
The
Yeah.
level of it was just the most authentic. Like if you go back to the original episodes of Orange County, you're talking about almost 20 years ago, right? Like 2004, 2005 at this point that those
Yeah.
episodes like first, and they were just so unaware. They were like literally their lives were just being captured on tape. There was no pretense. There was no Alibaba jewelry line. There was no they didn't have the knowledge to look ahead and understand that they were branding themselves in the way that they are now. I just think that those we're not going to have shows like that anymore. It's almost impossible with like not only social media, but the amount of years that we've had these types of shows. We're never going to have people. It's impossible to get someone on camera that doesn't understand or doesn't have some type of knowledge of the end game.
I
Right.
respect Roni 2.0 though for not doing glam on camera. That is one thing that is very New York about them. All these other franchises sit there in their glam chairs, and I'm like, I don't want to watch you get your makeup done. Like, do your own makeup. So shout out to Roni 2.0 for
Emily,
that.
Emily,
I
I love
respect
that.
it.
That's
I
one of my
respect it.
I
It's
respect
true.
it.
no,
And you're
I
acted and
love
it's
seeing them. Listen, I'm sorry, it does not get any better than Kyle Richards sitting in her makeup chair, getting a FaceTime from Garcelle, and them talking about how they are both nervous for that upcoming dinner. No,
They take
I love seeing
glam
them get
on
ready.
vacation. Who takes glam on
Yes,
vacation? You're
Lisa
going to the beach.
Barlow.
a lot of
Lisa
people. A lot of people.
Barlow.
Hi, I'm for hire. Take me on vacation.
Yes.
Yeah, but like so
But
that I can make like fun videos with you. Like I'm not gonna make people watch you do my hair. Like that's boring. And that's where we talk real shit, Jan. I can't like have that on camera.
right.
I don't know. I think that's fascinating. Like, and one of my favorite parts. I know it's a completely different universe, but one of my favorite parts of the OG Kardashians was when they would have like a separate room set up for all the sisters to get their makeup done, and they would be like, are you doing glam now? No, I can't do glam. I have to work out first and then do glam. And they're like, what are you guys doing? Yeah, we're all waiting for. And Kendall never did. Kendall never did glam. She just like
Respect.
showed up wherever she was.
Respect.
I was
That's
like,
Kendall
God,
Jenner.
I don't know. I
Oh my
love
God.
seeing the glam process, and there's nothing better than a stressed housewife as she's getting like bronzer put on. Like that to me is like
But they
quintessential
like look
like
good. They all look good.
Bravo
They've been doing their
culture. They
makeup.
all do,
They
of
they look
course.
good. No, but so maybe they're doing
Of
glam, they're
course.
just not filming it. But like in their confessionals, they all look great.
Yeah.
Erin's
Mhm.
makeup looks good. Her hair looks good. Jan's friend does
Flawless.
her hair. She looks
Shout out
great.
Yeah.
But like,
Rosario's been doing Erin.
yeah. But
Oh,
I don't
Erin
need to
looks
I don't
amazing.
She looks
yeah,
fabulous.
her
I will say
glam
that.
is
She
really
looks
good too. Her glam is great this
Yes.
season.
Yes.
Very good.
I think
Mhm.
Jessel looks fantastic this season. I think
I just
Sai
Oh,
looks
love
amazing
Jessel.
this
Jessel's
season.
glow
I
up.
think
Jessel's glow
Uba
up. Yeah.
glows in every. I mean,
But
Mhm.
she's a
every
model.
single
She's
one.
like
I
Tyra
know.
Banks
I
She
here.
know.
looks amazing all the
I know.
time. You know who got a glow up? Sai's husband this season.
Did he?
It's like,
Oh, I always liked him. I always thought he was
but he looks
sweet.
like, I don't know, he looks like more better put together when they showed him
I
in this
have to
last episode.
say,
It's like,
I have
oh,
to
did he
say,
get a glow up?
I think their scenes together are just interesting. I'm not a huge fan of like house husbands on the show because I'm not watching this to see what men think or say. I don't care. It's about the women. I want to see them. But I will say that, like, I don't mind their scenes together. I think they're like very genuine, very sweet. And and who's the other house husband that I don't mind on the show? Oh no one on New York. It's Melissa Gorga's husband,
Joe.
Teresa's brother. Yeah,
Joe?
I really like them together. I would watch a Melissa and Joe show. I would. I like them together.
I'm surprised that
I like
hasn't been a spin-off yet, actually.
I think it will be.
I'm
I think it
sure.
will be. Predictions.
I would-
Melissa's very
I would
pretty
love
too,
it.
so I could just watch her all the time. I think she's beautiful.
I love how she's like grown her business, how she talks about like transitioning that her kids are like going away to school. Like I like them. I really enjoy them. And I think he's really sweet. I think he's a kind husband. I think he loves his wife, and I think he really struggles with his sister, obviously.
I think they will reboot New Jersey and get rid of a lot of the OGs, but I do think that Melissa, I think, because I follow her, she's posted a lot about her family. She has a big family on her side, like a lot of cousins and like a lot of friendship and family, and they could have their entire own show. They don't need them.
And it's feel good too. Like they did that episode around was it Melissa's who were the two guys that got married? Were the cousin or a
her
brother?
cousin?
Melissa's
I
cousin.
think so. Yeah, her cousin.
And it was such a feel good episode seeing Melissa and her family and
you don't feel like that when you see Louis? Louis doesn't give you like the warm and fuzzies.
Again, I have a lot of fear, so I'm not commenting on things that I'm afraid of. But I will say, wait, you know who I sent you both?
Louis on my TV screen, like many times that I've seen him, I've been like, is my TV gone orange or red?
That's a tough one for me.
We didn't talk about Raquel.
But wait, you know, someone that I know, I just photographed her last night.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Cool.
Yes.
She's cool.
I know.
I'm very much enjoying her this season, like being on the show.
She might be too cool. She might be too cool for
She's very
Roni.
cool. Here's the thing. I want to see a makeover show with her and Jenna hosting, going around the country, helping like entrepreneurs like, you know, start their company or like I think that from a business standpoint,
like Power Lazies, I love it.
But just like powerful, like people that have created like just titans in an industry. Like she is.
No,
like,
I mean,
she is such a legitimate art advisor and a collector, and that's what I saw her at. She was
cool.
at the art show.
She just gives like she gives like the next level cool, where it's like you have to be a little cheesy to do reality television.
And Emily, that is why I really like this reboot, because for a while the last cast started to become caricatures of people that we once knew that lived in the city. And what I like about the new cast is that everyone on this show are like, you see these type of people out and about, you see them at events, you see them in meetings, you see like these are New Yorkers. And I really like that about this reboot. Or what is it called? 2.0? I feel like I've been saying reboot and it's completely wrong. You're supposed to say 2.0, right?
That's Ask Andy. Text Andy.
No, but I feel like with the old Roni, and I kind of had stopped watching that years ago. So I will say there came a point for me where I was like, they don't represent the new New York. Like they don't represent that. And to me, it was very much like an old school New York that they represented. And that was fun for a little bit. But I agree, like this new like Roni 2.0, it is at least more representative of what like powerful, rich New Yorkers, women especially, are doing.
Yeah,
and
driven.
Some of them are corny.
Right.
Some of them are corny. And some of them are
and you know what?
really cool. You know?
And shocker America, some of the housewives are lesbians. Boop boop.
Right, exactly. But
Yeah.
no, I think when the show comes around with Jenna and Raquel, Greg, make sure you're getting your intellectual property on
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I
executive
Make
would
sure
watch.
produce.
you're
Yeah,
getting.
I would watch
you should
that. I just think
produce.
they're so
I
fascinating, and
would. I agree.
what they've done separately and professionally is they've really built out their own paths and places where like it didn't exist. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So this is what
Hmm.
hopefully this becomes a thing. First of all, hopefully everyone has enjoyed what they've heard so far. Thank you. If you
Hmm.
haven't guessed by now, this is our first episode of AllegedTEA. I'll let you all check the actual spelling. And something little like our end note, our end cap, our last martini of the night. We're gonna do our high tea, which is our favorite character, someone that we have seen the most growth for whatever reason. I'm not going to put words into my co-hosts' mouths. And then we're
Hmm.
going to go who is the drip drop, which is who's the most problematic, who is in need of some help as we go on. So I don't want to go first because I'm nervous. I'm going to throw it to you two.
I'll do
So
it.
who wants to go first? Okay, all right, Emily, you're up first. Emily, who is your high tea of this season of the Real
Jessel.
Housewives of New York?
I just love Jessel, so I'm gonna give it to her because I laugh out loud during her scenes. But what is it? My drip
Your
drop
drip.
is
Your drip
my
drop.
drip. Bryn is bringing everyone down, and she needs to like
Oh.
go to therapy or something. I'm sorry, Bryn, but gotta work it out, honey. Not on our
Alleged
television
she
screen.
needs therapy. Alleged we don't have.
If she wants it, or just like I don't want to like listen to her. Like her stirring the pot is annoying. It's like not fun.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Jemery,
Mm.
who is your
So
high tea?
my high tea is Uba. She's a queen.
Oh.
Stop fucking with her, everybody. She's I will watch a whole show. She's another one. She should probably let's reboot Top Model and have her host it.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah. I love her.
And then my
Who
drip
who is
drop.
your who's your drip drop?
My drip drop. My messy.
Oh, no.
Rebecca Minkoff. Because like, what are you doing here?
Oh God, wait,
What are
I
you
forgot
doing
that she
here?
was on. When you said Rebecca
The
Minkoff, I'm like, oh God, what is
psychologists are
she
gonna get
talking
you.
about?
I don't care. Who invited you? Who invited
Andy
you?
Cohen?
I forgot she was on the show.
Exactly.
On the show.
Exactly.
And we were just talking about her moments ago.
Oh
Okay,
my
so if
God,
I
that's
had to
funny.
say, those are good ones. Unexpected. I thought you were gonna mention someone else, but okay. So my high tea of so far of season 2, 4th episode, 4 episodes in. I don't know. I'm just really enjoying Sai. I really enjoy her. I think she's getting better and better. She's showing all these different dimensions. I'm pulling for her. And also I started following her on social. I didn't realize that I did not follow her on social. So that was my misstep. And then my drip drop, Eek. I'm gonna have to agree with Emily here. It's really disappointing to see like kind of the downfall of Bryn. I think that there's possibly things happening that we're unaware of. Maybe she's going through. I don't know. I don't want to allegedly put that on her, but she went from being my favorite character, someone who I like love to see what they were wearing, what they were saying, like their even her tagline the first season was just like perfect. And now it's getting dark. It's getting like really kind of unhappy and sad. Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
Ooh, ooh. What a great way to end our first episode.
Thanks so much for listening to our very first episode of AllegedTEA. And did you know that you can actually watch us on YouTube, as well as traditionally listening to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts? We hope you enjoyed our very first episode, and we hope to see you next week. And remember, everything you heard in this episode happened AllegedTEA.